Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Gervonta Davis is wanted for all types of crazy charges. We're going to get right into it. I want the news people to tell you because I want you to understand. So just sit back, enjoy the ride.
At 5, a boxing superstar at the center of a multi-agency manhunt. World lightweight champion Gervonta "Tank" Davis is wanted on multiple charges, accused of domestic violence in Miami Gardens. And this is not his first run-in with the law. Good evening, I'm Lauren Pastrana.
And I'm Jim Berry. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. CBS News Miami's Chelsea Jones is your reporter live in Miami Gardens with the allegations against Davis. Chelsea.
And guys, this happened back in October, according to Miami Gardens Police Department. The ex-girlfriend told officers that Gervonta showed up to her job, which is a gentleman's club in town, and he put his hands on her. And police say that...
In other words, it's a scripper, allegedly.
They have surveillance video that corroborates those claims.
Gervonta "Tank" Davis.
Most people know him as a world champion boxer, but now there's a warrant out for his arrest.
On the following charges: battery, false imprisonment, and attempted kidnapping.
Those charges alone right there carries about 20 years at least. When you start talking about kidnapping and forcefully holding someone, and that's entirely too much that's going on right there, When that type of thing happens, that's when you know it's serious. So he got out of a couple more previous charges, and his handlers, they never stepped in to let him know, fall back, son. You're playing on bad territory, all right?
The victim told Miami Gardens police Davis showed up to her job at a Miami Gardens gentleman's club on October 27th.
The victim reported that Mr. Davis grabbed her by her back of her head, pulling her by her hair with one hand and by her throat with the other.
That means he was grabbing her like this while he was pulling her hair like this and saying, move forward. That's crazy. What is wrong with these people? Don't these people, let's ride. There's all types of handlers and all types of people around him, everybody getting a piece of the bag. Don't they understand that if he crash out that there's no more bags? So somewhere along the line, somebody got to step up and let this young man know, sit down, son, what are you doing? You jeopardizing my future, and I care about my future like you're supposed to care about your future, and you show me you don't care about your future. So that means I'm going to let you see what it's like when someone care about their future. So I'm going to let you know, sit your little down and chill out and leave your hands off them women. They should have told him that from the first time. It should never got this far. Right or wrong, put it in the comments. This the third time. Now he looking at kidnapping with that? His career is over. You remember Mike Tyson? Now we have Gervonta Davis. Let's stop it. Y'all got to step in and help these young people, man. You eating off of me, supposed to care about them because they are community. I remember my cousin, rest in peace, Camel. Camel told me one day his wife kept telling him, he was wrong. I'm going to keep it 100 because we're going to ride. This is a gangster channel, so we're going to ride. I'm at my cousin's house. His wife is there. They got about 4 or 5 little kids over there, and all of them under 7. So it's a bunch of little kids crawling on the floor, everybody doing their thing. And I go up in there, and I give them my 38, and I told them, I need a 9mm. And I'm like 13 years old, and they looking at me like, And this is how the wife is looking at me, and my cousin like, all right, man, I'll. And he go in the closet, he come back, give me a 9mm with 2 clips and a box of bullets. And I'm 13. And his wife looked and said, what are you doing? He's a baby. And he just looked at her and said, man, the youth of today is the men of tomorrow. And the soldiers of today is going to be kings of tomorrow. And he's going to be a king. This is what he chose. So I got to make sure he learn how to play with the proper tools and have the proper tools so he can live to be 61 and talk to y'all on YouTube and let you know it ain't worth it because my life was all screwed up. 13 years old, my cousin handed me a gun, 2 clips, and a box of bullets. And his wife looking like, yo, don't get that baby that. And I'm looking at her like, baby, because to me, that's the last thing a person ever called me. But now, you have people that's eating. I was eating on my own. You know, wasn't much, but I was eating on my own. But you got men like this that's not only eating, they're feeding other people. So the people around them supposed to step in and say, hold up, boss. Hold up, man, let's get back to this.
Police say he then forced her down the steps into a parking garage. That's where the victim says Tank let her go and she ran away. She reported it 2 days later.
She has known Mr. Davis since 2022, and they were previously involved in an intimate relationship for approximately 5 months, which ended about a month prior to the...
All right, so what it was is, right, this is what it sounds like, cause we riding. We riding from a gangster's point of view. Yo, what it sound like is, here we go, he got a little strip over at the club, he doing his thing for about 4 or 5 months, he did some tricks with him, he never even dreamt of, he been spent all his life in a boxing gym, turned his little young ass out, right? Now he all turned down. Now she said, yo, hold up, you ain't spending enough. You complaining too much. So she move on to something else. So she go get something else that she feel is better, but he still whooped, so he's still chasing her. Because when his homies try to tell him and his handlers try to tell him, what are you doing? You bugging out. She don't want you no more, dog. And he said, but I love her, dog. And that was supposed to cure the stupidity of chasing behind someone that don't want you, where it take you to the obsession of putting your hands around that person's throat and grabbing them by the head and escorting them from out of their job. Where do we do that at? In what civilization do we do that? Just telling me that people around them didn't see this type of behavior? We know of 3 publicly, so how many did you really witness that you turned the blind eye to and was gambling, losing the bag? How many? See, we had an old saying back in my days, right? Because we like to ride. We had an old saying called protect the connect. Right now, these young rappers and entertainers worth 50 million, 5 million, you know what I mean? Come on, $203 million, and they get grown-ups to work around these babies. Yes, even while they're in their 30s, babies, they get grown-ups, they get old heads to work around them, and the old heads, they feel like, you know, it's just a job that they don't have a moral obligation to let them know, you know, what's right or wrong that might crash him out and destroy the dynasty, because his dynasty is our dynasty. Look how they just destroyed Diddy's dynasty. He got to come back and fight for that. That dynasty has been destroyed. So you're supposed to protect the person that you're handling dynasty. Because then we as a people have something to say, look at such and such. Like, where do we go from here? Don't we need to come together sometime? Hold up, man. Let's get back to this because I'm riding too much.
The incident.
Both fighters knockout artists, both of them undefeated.
In July 2025, 3 months before this alleged incident, the boxer was arrested on a battery charge, accused of assaulting the mother of his children on Father's Day. This is video of him not speaking to cameras when he was released from TGK. The charges were dropped.
Work it out, son. Work it out.
In 2023, he was charged with battery, accused of slapping a woman.
Right there, they should have stepped in when he smacked the first woman. Right or wrong, put it in the comments. See, the people around him have stepped in for me, slapped the first woman, put it in the comments.
The prosecutors dropped that charge after the victim said she did not wish to proceed.
Do you think he paid that off or not? Put that in the comments. Do you think he paid that off for her to not wish to proceed? Obviously, he didn't give this last one enough, so she said, oh, no, I'm proceeding. What do you think? Put it in the comments. I'm this old man here.
In 2020, he turned himself in after this video that appears to show him.
Yo, look at this crazy ish here, though, son. Do you see? Hold on. I gotta put this on the big screen, man.
October 27th, a woman claimed Davis grabbed her by her hair and throat while she was at work at a
I want you to
gentleman's
see
club.
that. Hold up, stop talking so much. But check out the way, that's him right there in the white shirt. Watch how he grab her by the throat and where was his people at to check him and get him some help?
Grabbing the mother of his child out of her seat at a boxing game.
I want to say I'm a boxer, puncher. I'm definitely explosive.
See, that's all they wanted him to say, so they could grab that and say, "Yo, that's going right to court." He done said he explosive. That's in and out the ring. So that means she gonna get paid. Ka-ching. You know what I mean? Can you say a round of applause? You know? She got one, but I love a dog. She got one, but I love a dog. That's what he says as he goes into his bank account and opens the vault. Come on, man. Tighten up, y'all. Tighten up.
United States Marshals Fugitive Task Force is looking for him. The Baltimore Banner reports that Davis told Inside Boxing Live that he had plans to hang up his gloves at the end of last year because he has 2 daughters that he wanted to be softer and more humble for. We have reached out to his attorneys and they have declined to comment.
We know you live and all that, right? But see, that's what I'm saying, right? I want to get back to this young man right here. If I can find him. Let's get him over here, right? Now, Gervonta, he going through something, and this is where we have to come together so that, you know, we can let the youth know what time it is. Now, that's a good picture. I want to hold it right there, right, as I go into my spiel. Right? Let me slow this down real quick, right? This ain't gossip and this ain't drama. This is a conversation that needs to happen, especially with the youth. I'm about to, you know, talk about the clip that I just played so that we can see what it is that the young women and the young men need in order to move forward. Now, to the young men, right, listen, being loud ain't strength, being aggressive ain't power, and putting your hands or your mouth, you know, on your woman ain't masculinity. Let's get that right. Real men don't violate, real men don't humiliate, you know, real men don't need to, you know, fear to feel respected. You know, you don't need someone to be scared of you for you to be respected. If you gotta intimidate, you know, your woman to feel like you're a man, you already lost. You don't own nobody. You know what I mean? They own themselves. You don't know what they doing when you're not around them, so you can't watch them. All you can say is, but I love a dog, you know? And you definitely don't control nobody. And you don't get to cross lines because you're angry, jealous, or insecure, so that gives you the right to feel you can put your hands on a woman. You know, let me say this clear, right? A woman trusting you is not permission to disrespect her. That trust is earned. And once you break it, you don't just hurt her, you expose who you really are, you know? Now, I'm gonna give you the street, you know, not the soft side, so you understand. I come from environments where disrespect gets answered fast, but there's a difference between strength and damage. A real man checks himself before he checks a woman. So before a man puts his hand on a woman, he checks himself and be like, yo, what am I doing? A real man walks away before he crosses the line. He can't uncross, because one moment of rage can cost you a lifetime. I know so many people from being in prison that lost their life and got life in prison for a split-second decision from just pulling that trigger when they could have just dropped the gun. And now they're sitting in prison doing life. Your freedom, your reputation, your future, all that is gone. And prison ain't full of tough guys, you know. It's definitely full of tough guys. It's full of men who didn't control themselves for that 5 seconds that I talked about, right? To the women, right? Now, listen to me. This part matters too. Love should not hurt. Passion should not, you know, scare you. And attention is not affection. If the red flags show early, believe them. Don't sit there fighting them red flags, saying, nah, but I can change him. He didn't mean it towards me. Don't, you know, repaint them green because you like the person or you like what the person do to you, so now you want to turn a red flag green, If he's, if he can't control his temper, right? Talks crazy when upset, disrespects other women, blames everyone else. That's not going through something. That's who he is. So you understand. Don't wait for it to get worse before you leave, because it always gets worse, right? You don't fix broken character. You don't love someone into respecting you. So if someone is broken, you ain't gonna be able to fix them. And you can't, love someone and think that that's gonna turn to respect. Either they have respect or they don't. Now, this is about choices. Men choose discipline, right? Choose respect. They choose walking away before destroying everything. Women choose safety over excitement. They choose peace over chaos. They choose consistency over charm, because charm fades, but character stays. And that's what's crazy, how so many women is out there. I meet so many young girls. I heard something that I never heard before called pretty girl privilege. Could you believe that? I heard something called pretty girl privilege. I said, what the hell is that? She said, oh, I'm cute so I can get what I want to get. I said, how the hell you figure because you look good, a man's supposed to give you what you want? You better perform something. It's like, nah, I ain't got to perform nothing. Okay, all right, you keep believing that pretty girl privilege going to walk you through. Now, what this video represents, right? The clip that I showed you, it was a warning about unchecked ego, uncontrolled emotions, ignoring red flags. This is what happens when nobody intervenes. That's why I said his handlers is supposed to step in. When nobody says, yo, this ain't right. And that's why I'm saying something, because silence helps nobody. All that did was mess up the bag, Now, I'm gonna tell you my standards, right? Over here, we don't glorify harm. We don't excuse them, right? And we don't protect bad behavior because of gender, fame, or emotions, or that's my homie, or none of that crap. We protect principles. We protect accountability. If a man admit that, yeah, I told, you know what I mean? I don't respect, I don't respect what he did and all that, but I respect him making a choice that he felt he was comfortable with, even though I don't agree with it. But when a man hide and say, nah, I ain't telling, then all this paperwork come out, now you're looking like, yo, what is going on? And we protect the youth by telling them the truth. So I'm glad y'all watched that clip, not to judge it, but to learn and not laugh from it, but to reflect, because the lesson might save someone's future, right? But before I go, I got a couple of quick questions that I want y'all to answer in the comments, right? At what point does anger become abuse, and who decides that line? Now, 2, right? Do we excuse men's behavior too often by calling it emotion or stress? Now, number 3, can love ever justify disrespect? Just give me a yes or no. If you want, you can answer why not. What are the biggest red flags women ignore early on? Y'all put that in the comments. What are the biggest red flags women ignore early on, right? Is walking away a sign of weakness or real strength? Somebody let me know that. Should men be taught emotional control as young boys? Do toxic relationships come from poor choices or poor standards? Now, can someone truly change after crossing a violent line? Put that in the comment. Are we failing young men by not holding them accountable sooner? Meaning if they would have held Gervonta accountable sooner from the first time he allegedly put his hands on a woman, you think that could have helped? Or we failed? What advice would you give your younger self after watching this video and hear me speak on what I spoke on it. Put that in it. Let me know what you think. Make sure you watch my daughter's YouTube channel at Juanita Mecca Audio, my man Real Boss TTTV over there at YouTube. If you want to get the banging mixtapes, he got the oldies, the new joint. He got everything, man. We do what we do, you know. And Unique Mecca Audio if you want the prison story. All right, so that's where we at. All right, let me tap out.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, yeah. Heat back on the strip, getting back in the mix. Yeah. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Yeah. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca Audio.